Hey good people, and welcome back to the channel. The other day, I had an opportunity to check out a new Tubi movie called Dout. And if I had to rate the movie on a scale of 1 to 10, I would give it a solid 6. I thought that the movie had a lot of promise, but there were some issues that I had with the pacing and the ending. So over the course of this review, I'll give a brief summary of the movie, and I'll talk about some of the things that I liked and disliked about the movie. So without any further delay, let's jump right in. The movie Dout follows the character Tiara. You see, good people, Sister Tiara is a former video vixen. She's cute in the face, thicker than cold rotel dip, and she has the motivation to use what she has to get what she wants. And because her main goal in life is to secure the bag without getting her cheeks clapped, Tiara transitions from dancing in videos to promoting her own talents on social media and relying on simps to fly her out and pay for her trips. In addition to Tiara being flued out, she eventually lets these simps know that she is just using them for their money, and if they don't comply with what she wants, she'll put them on blast via social media. Newsflash, Tiara always gets what she wants in the end, and she ends up still putting these guys on blast, which earns her more money, as well as gifts from fans and business offers from TV producers. Tiara eventually meets her match when she met a man named Josiah who agreed to fly her out to meet him. Josiah is different from other men because he tells Tiara up front that he doesn't want sex from her, and he doesn't want her to tease him. You see, good people, Josiah had other plans for Tiara. Now, when I saw the first half of this movie, I was completely on board with the storytelling as well as the acting performances from the characters. I think that in our society, we have really normalized the concept of accepting that some women who use their looks and sensual nature to get a man's attention will ultimately prey on weak and innocent men and take them for a ride. And while some women are guilty of using men for their money, a lot of guys suspect that most women wouldn't even look their way if a man didn't have the financial means to provide for them. And for most average guys, this type of situation is a catch-22, because if a man spends his money on every woman he meets, he's bound to get used by at least one woman along the way. But if a man doesn't spend his money on any woman, then he's likely to be single and alone for a long time. So what I liked about this movie is that it establishes itself as a cautionary tale for Tiara out the gate. Very early on in the movie, we get a scene of Tiara and her aunt. In this scene, Auntie is trying to warn Tiara about the dangers of using men and putting them on blast via social media. But Tiara doesn't want to listen, and I eventually figured out that Tiara would meet her match in this movie. After all, in our society, there are a ton of real life stories of women who get assaulted or far worse when they simply reject a crazy man who asks for their phone number. In this movie, Tiara was meeting any random guy who wanted to pay her to visit them, and there's really no vetting process. And I think it's mind-blowing that nothing ever happened to her prior to meeting Josiah. Another thing that I liked about the movie was the acting performances. The actress who played Tiara really went all the way in when portraying a character that was selfish, annoying, and someone who you would easily root against. However, there were parts of the movie that I thought Tiara had some redeemable qualities. When she met Josiah and learned that he had no interest in sleeping with her or being used, Tiara began to show her true, authentic, and vulnerable self instead of a person who feels that she needs to be in order to survive in the world. I also liked that the movie wasn't your typical predictable thriller. Dout definitely subverted my expectations and then some. Which brings me to 3 things that ruin a very promising movie for me. The first thing was how the movie went completely left in its storytelling. In the first half of the movie, we have a very realistic story of a gold-digging sugar baby who plays with fire each and every time that she tries to take a guy for a ride. The movie then pivots to the same woman getting drugged, kidnapped, and held hostage by a guy who she played and embarrassed. The movie then pivots again to this guy Josiah being part of a cult that aims to rid the world of 304 culture, if you know what I mean. Then the movie pivots a final time to being a supernatural thriller that involves spirits that possess bodies and whatnot. In other words, there was a whole lot going on in the movie, and I think that these twists could have worked better in the movie if there was a shorter runtime and the story was a little bit more concise. Which brings me to my second point, which is the pacing. I was completely on board with the movie's pacing during the first half of the movie. But in the second half, after Tiara is held captive, the movie slows down completely, and we get a lot of preachy moments between Tiara and her captors. The movie spends a lot of time showing Tiara's captors trying to indoctrinate her, but it seems like the indoctrination was in place so that the movie could have some exposition about the cult that kidnapped Tiara. In my opinion, such exposition could have been shortened to about 5 to 10 minutes and it would have been just as effective. Lastly, the ending really blew me. At the end of the movie, Tiara undergoes the ritual of becoming a new member of the cult and having her body possessed, and that's how the movie ends. But the movie left a lot to wonder. At this stage of the movie, in my opinion, Tiara's aunt would eventually look for her, and her followers would definitely recognize her in public if they ever saw her after the ending. So as part of the audience, in my opinion, it would be a lot easier to accept Tiara's fate if she had no friends or family that cared about her, but she's a public figure with several viral videos. So when I reached the end of the movie, I was just left wondering what may have happened next. Nevertheless, I think that some folks will love this movie, and I'll still recommend that folks check the movie out so that they can form their own opinion. And this marks the end of the review. If you have any questions or comments related to the review or the movie, feel free to leave them below in the comment section and I'll be sure to reply to everybody. So next time, stay tuned and stay safe. Peace.